I hope that my screen is visible for all and my voice is audible for all. So happy to see you here. Okay. So today, this 5 days of workshop, that what we're going to cover, we're just going to cover everything that you require as a front end. Like you need to get started with your JavaScript, we're going to cover it. Okay. So basically, start from if you don't have any other programming language basics and you don't know about programming language, and this is your first time that you are experiencing JavaScript, this section is really going to helpful for you all guys, and also for the people who want to experience much more in JavaScript. It is going to really helpful. So the session is going to be the beginner to advanced level. We're going to cover all the basic concepts that related to JavaScript. We're going to cover it first of all, and second thing what we're going to cover, we're going to cover the DOM operation, like how to use JavaScript in the front end by using the DOM API. So like we're going to cover that too, and also we're going to cover about the asynchronous. If we have time, we will see the ES6 part also. Cool, right? So it is going to be 5 days, 1 hour workshop. We're going to cover. So the timing is going to be 7:30 to 8:30. We're just going to cover it that. Okay. So you can use the live chat option in the YouTube channel, and you can able to speak with me. I will see your all your chats in here, and I will respond to your doubts and all. I will clear it, clarify you. So if you have any doubts regarding that also. Okay. So if you are came in, just give a comment like I'm present, like that, anything. Okay. So this section is also going to be a continuous section. We're going to have start from scratch. We're going to cover at the end of the fifth day. We're going to cover all the topics. So it is going to be a continuous section. So we need to know about who are the students that seriously taking this 5 days of workshop, right? So for motivating you, we will provide a participation certificate. Hi everyone. Hi Kundan. Hi Santosh. Hi everyone. Okay, so we will provide hi others, right? So for who all are taking this 5 days of workshop as serious, we will give you a participation certificate also from the team of the web dev. We will provide a free participation certificate. So the only thing you need to do is just you need to see, like you need to watch this entire 1 hour live stream, and we will give the attendance form in between or at the end, in the middle, whenever we want to provide, we will provide you only a one attendance form. You need to fill this attendance form. Okay, so if you fill this attendance form, kudos, that's it, fine. We know who all are watching 1 hour regularly, so we will give certificate for those persons. We will provide via email. Okay, so this is the rules and regulations. Happy, very happy, sir, thank you. Okay, so just I want to ask two questions for you guys, just to start the JavaScript course. I just want to ask you two questions. So if you just answer this two questions, that is more than enough. We can able to identify which set of students are right now we have, right? So who all already know about JavaScript, right? Not like I experienced it with somehow in JavaScript, but I don't know the entire thing about JavaScript. But I'm experienced something about JavaScript. So how many students like that? Or I don't know nothing about JavaScript. I'm a very beginner. Right now only I know the word JavaScript, but I don't even code anything. Okay. So how many of you like that? So if you are a new beginner, just say I'm very new to here. And if you already know about JavaScript, you've done some couple of projects, then just say like a little bit. That's more than enough. This is your first question. Respond in the comment section fast. Okay. So meanwhile, I just going to tell about this. The code editor I just going to use is going to be the JSBin. So if you go for Google, you can check for JSBin. So it is nothing but an online debugger, which means an online code editor, where they will provide some of the tools, like some of the files. We don't want to work the VS Code and all to teaching. So for teaching purposes, I'm taking JSBin. But if you want to work with the code, then you can use the obviously you can use the VS Code and so on, things like the editors that are available. But VS Code is much more perfect. Okay, a little bit then practicals in college, a little bit basics. Okay, so I'm a new for JS. So most of you are new, fine with that. And second thing is, like, how many of you know any other programming language? Like I know Python, I know some other things, Java, C++, like that. I know other programming language, but I don't know JavaScript, like that. So if you know other programming language, then type the programming language. If you are a new beginner, like I don't know anything, I know a single programming language, I'm very new, then type new again. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so let us come to here. So JSPN is like an online code editor that I'm going to use now for teaching purpose. Okay, so this is very comfort to teach instead of go and write it in code in Visual Studio Code, and I need to use the live server to execute the code and all, right? So For teaching purpose, I'm using this, but you can able to use like you use the Visual Studio Code to practice. Okay, that is perfect one. Okay, and this is JS Pen is nothing but it's like a code pen. So most of you know about code pen, code play, sandbox. Like that, JS Pen is also an online editor where we can write our code and we can see the result here, like that. Okay, for example, you can see we have HTML and I have output, right? So whatever I'm typing here in the HTML tag, it will be displayed here. For example, I simply say, I just say h1, and here I just say hello world, like this, and I close this h1, close this h1, like this. You can able to see it will use the output, right? So it is for practicing place where we can able to practice it. Okay, so we can able to select which language that I need to, like which what are the files that I need to use. So here we're going to see about the JavaScript file, and we don't want this output. Okay, so I don't want the output file, I want this console file. Okay, let us see what is console first of all. So these are called as browser tools. Okay, so the browser tools are really helpful in development. Okay, so most of the our works are based on the browser, right? So because we are creating a website, I need to where we can finally display it. It is in the browser, right? So to accessing the browser, to having control over the browser, it is also a key essential skills, right? So where you can able to see means if you right click it and you can inspect this, most of you know about this elements, right? So you can able to see the elements, and if you're new here, you can get this file top here, and you can change the view, right? If you click here and you can able to, I think not here, if you are opening fresh shield, you can able to see this file like this. Okay, so what you can do, just click the three dot and you can see which position that you need to display it. Okay, so I just bottom, it's fine. Okay, so here this element section is also a browser tool, so where our HTML codes and CSS code will be displayed. You can able to check it by using Visual Studio Code, and you can able to see the next browser tool, it's console and performance insight source, and so much of things is here. So each and everything is going to do, they are available for doing some set of actions. Okay, so right now the most important thing that we need to see is going to be this console. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so I just want to work with this console. So what does this console mean? So console is the place where we get our browser notification, like browser message, like error message, warning message, or anything. And also we can able to use this console, we can able to access it, and we can able to use this console for debugging purposes. So what is meant by debugging? Well, so what is meant by programming language? Like I'm speaking with the computer, the computer need to understand that, right? So how can I know that computer is understanding? I'm writing code, I need to understand whether, like I need to know whether the computer understands this line of code or not, right? So if computer is not understanding, then I need to change the code. There is something problem with my code, right? So for that purposes, we can able to use this console log to debug it. Okay, so we will see that much more. So it is a dynamic place where you can able to do, for example, simply I say 2 plus 3, you can able to see we will get this 5, right? So what it is doing, so whatever we are writing here, we can able to see here, we can able to use like a workplace, and all our error message, warning message, everything, the browser notification will be displayed here, and we can, by using those message, what we can do, we can able to optimize our code. We can able to change our code at all. Okay, so that is what we need. Okay, so this is console. So instead of opening, right click, inspecting, and using the console, we can able to use the console that is given by the JSP. Okay, it is also going to do the same thing. Okay, if I say 2 plus 3, okay, and if I enter, it is producing me the result 5, right? If I right click and go and inspect in the console, you can able to see it is produced as the 5, right? The same thing, but instead of opening this browser tool, I'm using the available one. That's it. Okay, so we can use the clear and run to run it. Okay, so the second thing is how to access this console. So for accessing the console, we have the method. So this method is called as console.log. Just understand right now what is this. I will explain about what is methods, what all these things. Okay, so this is a code you need to remember, console.log. Okay, so this console.log, whatever we are putting inside this console.log, it will be displayed in our console. Okay, for example, I simply say console.log, and you can able to see I'm putting some slashes here, right? So why I'm putting this? Because this is not a code, so I need to tell that it is not a code. So if I am putting anything before the slash, it is called as comments. Okay, so it is ignored by the browser. So whatever I'm writing here, it is like a notes. Okay, so I'm writing something, it is not a code. Okay, Without this double slash, I'm writing something, then it is considered as a code file. Okay, so it is a code. It should have some syntax and all. We need to look into that. Okay, for example, we have the console.log. I simply say hello everyone. Okay, simply like this. And if I click this run, you can able to see in the console we get this hello everyone. And if I right click, go for the inspect, go for the console, we can able to see we get this hello everyone, right? So this is what it will do. Okay, so the console.log we will use for debugging. So by using this method, we can call them inside this console.log whether it is done perfectly. Then it is execute. If it is not, or it will show some undefined or not optimized, like that, it will throw some errors. Okay. So that's what it will do. Okay, Python, somewhat basics. I know other programming languages. So, okay. Hello, sir, little bit. Okay, so I just want to conclude those people who know nothing, okay, or you know little bit about JavaScript, then that is fine. You know nothing, then that is also fine because we are going from scratch. Okay, so that is fine. The second question, like you know other programming languages, right? And we have JavaScript. Don't compare JavaScript with any other programming language. Okay, so why I'm saying that, you know Python, you know C++, Java, or any other programming languages. Java, C++ are statically typed 1. They are different programming. They are very strong statically typed 1. Okay, but JavaScript is a dynamically typed. So we don't want to confuse what is static and dynamic and all. Okay, so JavaScript, the procedure of development, like how it is work is different, and Java, C++ is different. Like Python is more similar to JavaScript. They are dynamic, but Pythons are strong dynamic programming language, but JavaScript is a weak dynamic programming language, which means JavaScript, we have more weird concepts. Okay, so it will produce more weird results too. Okay, so to understanding JavaScript is very easy, and also it will produce some weird result to us. Okay, so that is the main thing. Okay, so if you know any other programming language, don't compare those syntax with the JavaScript. JavaScript is different. So here, like statically typed language, we need to give the int, caret, and everything. We need to define it like a structured way, right? So in JavaScript, we don't want to do it. Okay, it is as it is very going to be very simple. Okay, so if you know programming language, don't confuse it that. Okay, so that is the only getaway that here. Okay, so those people who don't know any programming language and any right now you are here for JavaScript, the session is mostly this is going to be helpful for you. Okay, that's it. Okay, so this is our first part. This is for the console.log. Whatever we have code, we will code it here. Okay, so this is what this console.log method do. Okay, so now we will go for the first concept, that is going to be the variable. So what is mean by variable? Anyone in the type, just comment it off here. So I was going to tell it. So it is nothing but it is a container to store data. Why I need to store data? Let us see. I'm just telling my name. Like my name is Hari, and I like to work with JavaScript. Okay, so this is a sentence. Okay, so if you want to create another sentence, okay, so what you can do, like you would say, his name is Hari, and he want to he like to program with Python, like that. Okay, so you need to create another sentence. So every time, what you need to do, you need to call my name, right? So his name is Hari, and he need to do that language. His name is Hari. He's a freelancer. His name is Hari, he is doing that, right? So every time we are repeating the word, like the name of the word, we are repeating it, right? That is not so good, right? So for what we can do, we can simply store our data, the information data, and whenever we want the data, we can able to access it. It's like a memory. So in our browser, we are creating a memory and we are storing our data in the browser, and whenever we want, we take it. That's it. Okay. So it's like remembering things. Okay, that's it. Simply, let's see how to create an variable. Okay, so simply it is going to be a container to store data. Okay, so whatever like that. Okay, so how we can be able to create a variable means, so to creating a variable, to create, I simply say create variable. Okay, so for creating variable, we need some things, right? So because computer need to understand and we need to speak the computer and how to do it, right? So that is called a syntax. So some syntax is there. So what is mean by syntax? Syntax is nothing but it is how the programming, by using the programming we talking to the computer, right? So it is the language is built. For example, I'm speaking with English. So it has some set of rules and regulation, right? So I cannot speak within my native language and I'm saying that this is the English. No one understand it, right? Same like that. So each and every language has a syntax. So we can say like the structured way of speaking that, right? That's it. That is what the same. So to speak with this computer, we need some syntax. Based on the syntax only, we need to write the code. Okay, so it's like an structure. Okay, so how the syntax? So then syntax, what are the essential things that we need means to create a variable? We need this keyword. So keyword, we will see what is keyword, and we need identifier. We need this identifier, and we need this value. Okay, that's it. These are the things we need, and one more thing, that is equal to sign. Fine. So let's see what is keyword first of all. So keyword is the name itself. It is a keyword to understand that browser need to understand I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to create a function. I'm going to create something, right? The browser need to understand, right? So that is why we have some reserved words. It's nothing but reserved words. So these reserved words are like an it speaks that telling to the computer. So if I use that reserved words, so the computer will understand, okay, so you need to create a variable or you need to create a function. So you are using this reserved words, then it is speaking like it is by understanding the reserved words, it will understand it. Okay. So what are the reserved words to create a variable means? We have var, we have let, and we have const. So three reserved words we have. So by using this reserved words, whatever the words that whatever the three keywords I'm using, the computer will understand and it will create a container for us. Okay. So if I simply say let, so now what happened? The computer reads let, and what it is going to do? It is go for the memory and it will create a small box for me. Okay. So that is what it will do. So the second thing is going to be the identifier. So what is meant by identifier? Identifier is like I say now, variable is a box and we are giving name to the box. So because I have so much of variables, which means I have, let us consider, we have so much of box and I need to take one of them. So I have like, for example, we are going for a stationery shop, and in stationery shop, they have lot of boxes and you can able to see in each and every boxes, they put a label, right? So this is for crayons or sketches or notes, pens, pencils, like that they will put a label, right? Why? Because if someone asks you, can you give me the pencil? They will go to that box and they will take it, right? Same like that, identifier is also like that. We will create more number of variables and we need to know which variable contains which things, right? So giving a name to the container. Okay, here for example, if some person giving the name, then what we can name it? We can simply name it my name, like this, or simply name like this, whatever the word it is used to identify that particular variable. Okay, I just give equal to. So equal to is, you know, that assigning something. Okay, inside this box I need to put something. Okay, so here I just going to put a string. Okay, so this is a value. So whatever the value that I need to store inside, we can able to put it. Okay, so if it is a string, so what is meant by string? Words like a sequence of characters, the combination of characters. Okay, so that is called as words. So why we need to put it in a double quotes or single quotes for string means for wording characters? The reason is because the computer need to understand, right? So this is an string, it is a word, it is just a text, not a code, right? So computer need to understand it is a text. Okay, for that we need to use this double quotes and single quotes. Okay, so meanwhile you can see here we don't give this double quotes and single quotes. Reason? Because it is not a text, it is a code, right? So we are giving an identifier name, it is a code, but this is a value that is a text value. Okay, for example, I just give my name like this. You can able to see we have done with that, and that's it. We have created and variable. And as I mentioned, JavaScript is a weekly programming language, and also it is like dynamic weekly programming language. If you don't give any this semicolon and all, it doesn't care about that. Okay, if you without this semicolon at the end, it will work. But if you work with any other programming language, you can able to see for declaring a string, you need to use the caret and so much of thing like str, you need to use it and you need to declare it and you need to give the semicolon to run without error. But here it is not. We ending semicolon is good, but without this also it will work fine. Okay, so that is what. So right now we created a code, but I need to know whether this code is created, a memory is allocated, and inside this memory my value is stored or not. I need to know, right? So debugging, right? I need to check whether it is done or not, right? How can I debug? Yes, of course, we have the console.log to debug it. So here what we can say, simply I just say my name. So if I say my name, so what is it is going to be? It is the identifier name. I'm calling that variable name. So if I call this name, then what it is going to happen? It will send whatever the value that inside it. If it is created, perfectly. If it is not created perfectly, it will not send it. Okay. So if I run it, you can able to see we will getting it. So instead of every time we are selling, so like his name is Hari and he know JavaScript. His name is Hari, he like to learn Python. His name is Hari, he like to learn Swift. Like that, instead of saying that, we can use my name everywhere. Okay, simply wherever you going to use this my name, it will remember the name of the person. Okay, so what we have given, it was going to remember. Okay, so that is what it will going to do. So this is declaration, like creating a variable. So here we know what is keyword and what is identifier and what is value. And you have one doubt, like var is also a keyword, let is also a keyword, and const is also a keyword. So what is the work of these three things to create a variable? For example, instead of let, if I use var and if I run it, it is work perfectly. Instead of var, I use const, and if I run it, it worked perfectly, right? Let us see what happen if I do some mistakes. Like for example, I don't give an end quotation mark like that. And if I clear and if I run it, you can see syntax error, invalid, unexpected token. What is this? An error. So it is saying that, so something is, we are doing something wrong in our syntax. So as a string, we need to end with that quotation. So that is why it's saying syntax error. So you need to focus on the syntax. You can see the computers need not to understand what we are writing. So there is no memory allocation is happened. So that is the problem. So once we done with this, okay, if I clear and if I run it, you can able to see this one, right? So that is what it is doing. That is what it is doing. Okay, so the syntax is very important for creating this one. Okay, so that's fine. Let us see the next one. What is going to be this console.log? We have created it. Okay, so here we have three things. Both three things are doing the same one, right? So three things are doing the same process. Then what is the difference between them? Why we need to have these three things, right? So if a question arises, like why I want to use these three things, okay, let us say that we will discuss that in much more deeper in the advanced section also. So right now, just understand this war keyword is pretty older one, okay, and it has so much of what we can say overlooked behavior, and it does not have some scoping concept and all. Okay, it is a very old. When JavaScript was introduced in 1995, so the var keyword was being introduced. It causes some problem in our code because of its overlooked behavior, and also the scope problem that it has with the var. Okay, so that is why they introduced the let keyword and const keyword in the modern JavaScript. Okay, so after 2015, this let keyword and const has been introduced to replace this var. We can simply say we don't want to use var any longer. Okay, so in some cases, we need to work with that overlooked behavior, we will use the var. But whatever the var will do, both the let and const will do even much more. Okay, the problem that we have var is the scoping concept that is cleared with the let and const. Okay, so we will discuss in some other advanced classes. Okay, right now just understand, don't use var, just go for let and const to work with. Okay, so that is fine. Then you may ask, like, what is the difference between let and const, right? So let I explain. So if you're creating a variable, then we can able to reassign it also. For example, simply I just called my name, and here I just going to say the name of another person like this. Okay, so if I clear and if I run it, okay, so what is happened? Okay, I think, okay, so we declared it with const. Okay, so I just create a variable with let, and I clear, and if I run it, you can able to see the variable name is getting changed, right? So what happened? The second line, this is not declaring a variable, right? We are not declared, because once you want to declare a variable, then you need to use this let keyword. Okay, let or const keyword, you need to declare a variable. Here we are not using it, so means there is already a variable is there. I need to take the variable and I need to change that. So reassigning something. Okay, so inside I have Hari Prashad and I need to change this to Sabri. Okay, so that is what it is do. So if I once I do it, once I log the console.log my name, now you can notice that my name is changed to Sabri, right? So that is why it is showing as Sabri. Okay, so it is reassigning is possible in the by using let keyword and also var. Both are accept reassigning. By using var keyword also you can able to reassign it. But when I use const keyword like this, and if I run it, as we know, like the previously it throws error, right? Same like that, it will throws an error. You can able to see what is the error that we are getting. Assignment to constant variable. Yes. So once you declare a variable with constant, then it is not reassignable. like it is like a constant variable, we cannot able to remodify, right, reassign it. Okay, so it will be useful in some cases when we are working with the original data or the source data or anything that is a original file. I don't want to change it, no longer, like whatever happens, I don't want to change that file. In that cases, you can use this const keyword and let keyword. Okay, so I have something and I need to do some modification for this variable, you can go with let. Okay, so that is possible. Okay, so that's what it will do. Okay, yeah, I can use dark mode, but you cannot see it in JS bin. Okay, so that is the reason. Okay, can you tell why using let? The reason, that is simple. So I say that there is two reasons. One is for the overlooked behavior of var keyword, that is hoisting, and second one is going to be the block level scope is not available in the var keyword. Okay, so those concepts, it's coming for advanced to masters JavaScript concept, like what is the ES6. In that we will discuss about what is the difference and all. Okay, that is the basics to beginner classes. I don't want to confuse with those concepts like what is hoisting and all. So, but I will give a hint, like at the end of the class, I will give another place you can where you can able to learn those advanced concept also. Okay, so at the end of the video, I will tell you that also. Okay, yeah, we can go for it. Okay, so once that is done, this is all about creating a variable, and we know why we are using let and const, because it is newly introduced one, and the problem with the let and const has been solved. The difference between let and const, it is reassignable, it is not reassignable. Okay, so that is the reason. So here the next comes identifier. So identifier is like naming a word to that variable, right? So here we have some set of rules and regulations. So some of the rules I will tell you. So first thing is going to be, you should not have, like, we are not able to take the reserved words as identifier. For example, I'm not able to give const as my identifier or var as my identifier. Why? Because those are reserved words, I cannot use it. Okay, so you are not able to use the reserved words as your identifier. Okay, they are meant for a purpose, and that they will do that only. We are not able to take it, and we are not give any value to that. Okay, so we will not able to do that. First thing. And the second thing is going to be, you cannot start an identifier with a number. Okay, if I say like this is completely not possible. Okay, so you cannot sort of identify with the number, and also you cannot use some special characteristics. Okay, it's like the number signs and the subset signs, superset signs, and add keyword. Like you cannot use it in that variable identifier. Okay, so only what you can do, you can start anything with a letter, or you can start something with the dollar sign and underscore. It is an like exceptional, like you can either use dollar sign underscore to create a variable, but you cannot use any other than that. Okay, so my personal suggestion, like give that identifier name as, for example, it is a name, then give an app name for the identifier, like name or first name, last name, like that. Give an app name, that is fine. So start with the letter, that is good. Okay, so that's what we are doing here. And one more thing is, this identifier name is a case sensitive. So once you are using this identifier name, you need to use the same case. For example, if I say instead of my name, I say my name here, like that. You can able to see the n is caps here, but it is small. If I run it, it will throw an error. Like not one, this one. We clear this one. Okay. I will create and run it. It will throw an error because my name is not defined, because it is a case sensitive one. So whatever the case that you are using, you need to use it here. Okay. So the most common use case of JavaScript is lower camel case. What is mean by lower camel case means the first letter starts with small, and the upcoming letters, the words, upcoming word that starts with the caps letter, that is lower camel case. It is most commonly used one. Okay, for JavaScript. Okay, so even in DOM also we will use this only. Okay, so that is what it will do. And right now we know how to create an identifier also. The third one is going to be the value equal to, you know that. So third one is going to be the value. So what is the other name for value? We can say data, right? So data is going to be the other value. So if I say data, this may be several, like it has so much of types, right? For example, it is a string right now, like a word, and it may be a number, or it may true false like boolean values, or it may some other things. So the data may be anything, right? It should not be like, I cannot say like data must be a string, data must be a number. We cannot say that, right? So data may be anything, right? So that is called, the next topic we're going to see is data types. So what are the data types that are available to store a data inside JavaScript variables? We see that. That is going to be the next topic. Okay, let us discuss the second topic, that is going to be the data types. Okay, so it is going to be the data types. Okay, so the data types is nothing but what are the data that we can able to store it in a value, right? So store it in a variable. That is what we're going to do. So when I'm speaking with the data types, it is in JavaScript there are separations is there, like categories. One is going to be primitive data types. Okay, so another one is going to be reference data types. Okay, so there is a big difference between primitive data types and reference data types. Okay, so but for as a beginner, like for beginner to advanced concept, the only difference you need to understand now is primitive data types hold only one value, but reference data types holds more than a value. Okay, but this is not only the difference. Okay, so because of how it is storing in the memory, we have the like passing by reference, passing by value, like that we have so much of concept is there. But right now just understand primitive data types is only store a single value, but reference data types can hold a list of values. That's what it will do. So when I say primitive data types, what are the primitive data types that we have means we have the string, we have the number, and we have the boolean, and we have null, and we have undefined. So not only this, right now there are two other data types also is that one is going to be big int and another one is going to be symbol. Or not symbol here. Okay, so big int is the this one. Okay, and we will get the symbol also. Okay, so both are come here. And if I say reference data type, we have object. Okay, so but this big int and the symbol is newly introduced one. It is no, we are not using that much long, but why the use case of symbol is to do to store some anonymous data like unique data. So it is only one, like that we can able to store it. Okay, it's for symbol, but it is no use case, like we are not using that for our protection of. Okay, so someone asking you, you can say symbol and also symbol, like you can say the common data types like string, number, object, boolean, and undefined is there, and we have references object, but also we have symbols, the newly introduced one, and also we have big int. So what is meant by big int? Big int is also not that much important. Big int is nothing but big integers. Like we in JavaScript we have something called as maximum safe integer. So what does that mean? Means like how many values that a memory can hold. Okay. So if you go for Google and you say max safe integer, you can, I think you will get an MDN. Yeah, this is the max safe integer for JavaScript also, I think. Yeah, this is for JavaScript. So this is the maximum safe integer. So JavaScript can work perfectly till this number. So if you're doing some calculation or anything above this number, then it will not works perfectly. Okay, it will do some weird, it will give some weird answers. Okay, because this is a maximum holding capacity of JavaScript in our browser, so it will do some other things. Okay, so that is the reason it will do it. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so that is the one thing that here it will do it. Okay, so for that purpose only we have this big int. So by using big int, simply after this name we will put some n. For example, if I say a equal to 10 n. Okay, so if I put this n, then it is considered as the big int. Okay, so this is a big integer, like whatever the value, the n contains any values. Okay, so that is going to be the big int. So this is also not that much important because it is newly introduced one for calculating the big integers and all. So this is also not that much important. But if you like to learn this big int and what is the difference between this one, the concept, some advanced concepts like hoisting and this passing by reference, passing by value, those concepts, what is the difference between var, let, those concepts, if you want to learn, those are some advanced concepts. We need to understand the core functionality, how it is working and all. So for that purpose, what we can do, I will tell you, I will, in our channel also we have the resources. I will tell you at the end what is the resources that you can follow to learn this advanced concept. Okay, so right now just understand we have this 5 most used primitive data types and also this one object used primitive data types. Okay, okay, so that is what we're going to be see. So first is going to be a string. Okay, simply I say let sum equal to, or we can create let name equal to, and here I just simply say like this. So this is going to be a string. So how can I understand, or what are the rules for creating a string? Means you want to if you want to create a string, then it should be wrapped with either single quotes or double quotes or backticks. So anything that is wrapped inside the single quotes, double quotes, and backticks, then this is considered as a string. Okay, even it is a word or a number or anything, but it is inside this double quotes and single quotes and this backticks. The JavaScript will understand it as a string only. Okay, so it's understand it is only as a string only. So it will convert. It will just think about, okay, so it is a text, like that. It will consider. For example, we have a method called type of. Yes, we have a method called type of. What this method will do, it will returns which data type that the variable is belong to. For example, if I simply say console.log, and here I just say type of, like this, and give a space, and I call the name. So normally if I call the name variable, what happened, it will produces the name of the what is the value that we have, right? So if I clear and if I run it, you can see right now it is not producing, it is producing something. If I remove it and if I clear and I run it, you can able to see we will get the result. But if I use this type of method, what it will produce means it will produce string. So what the type of method will do, type of method tells which variable, like which data type that the particular variable is belong to. Okay, so that is the type of method will do. Okay, this type of method you can able to check whether which variable which data type that the variable belong to, like that you can able to check it. Okay, so if I give, instead of I'm taking this word and I give some numbers like 67, I give and I clear it, still it is a string only. That is why I'm saying whatever that comes under the double quotes and single quotes, it is considered as a number only. Okay, so sorry, string only. So that's what it will. Okay, so the second one is going to be number data type. Okay, so number data type, simply the numbers, whole numbers. So don't compare any other language with JavaScript. So here numbers are numbers. It is not a float integer. No matter what, it is a number only. Okay, for example, I say sum equal to, if I say 10, okay, and I check the variable, which variable it belongs to. If I take it, clear, run it, number. And if I use the float like 10.68, a decimal value, and if I run it, it is a number. If I use some negative values, it is a number. If I use 0, it is a number. Everything is a number, no matter what is decimal, integer, nothing. It is a number. Okay, so in JavaScript, it's just simply a number. Okay, don't tell we have floats, integer, and those things. Okay, just simply, just a minute, tell we have numbers only. Okay, so that is fine. Okay, so that's what you do. Okay, simple. So once that is done, the third data type we need to do is, it's going to be Boolean data type. So simply Boolean true or false. We comparing something, and these data types we have some use cases. It's just an introduction. Use cases only, we are implementing everything in our programming language. It is a starting point of the programming. Okay, so Boolean data type, for example, I just say greet. Okay, I say true. Okay, notice it's not wrapped in the double quotes, right? If it is wrapped in double quotes, it is also a string. So if I ask for greet, then it will give me the data type Boolean, right? So Boolean basically the true or false. Okay, these three things is considered, like these two things is considered as a Boolean data type. Okay, so that's what it will do. Okay, so the next thing is going to be let we know what string, we know what is number, what is Boolean, and null, right? Let's see, I said let a equal to, I just giving the value null. Okay, like this. Okay, and I take for value a, and you can able to see we don't get this null data type. Instead of, we know what is null it is, right? So null is nothing, in nothing inside it. Most common word, right? So it is a primitive data type, so it is going to produce null only. It is belongs to the null data type, right? But you can see the weirdness of JavaScript here. It will produce this object. The reason for it is like JavaScript, everything is an object only, but that is not a matter. Don't confuse that. Okay, so what we need to understand here, it is a mistake. It is a bug. Okay, so the person who created JavaScript, the Brendan, he himself accepted that this is a major. So they are even a proposal is null data type